A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light. The stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise. His words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, and words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in his gentle tone. A whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into the day. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, and words no borders, no distance ends. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light. The stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise. His words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. A 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, and words no borders, no distance.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Giggity. All right.
Seems quiet. Too quiet.
I'm Batman. Gotham is never safe without me. What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. Okay, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You can attach towers? Shut up. Impromptu performance this evening, which I must say was indeed a welcome distraction. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You're very kind. This is going to be funny. Good evening. Hello and welcome to another night with the Bookfather. I hope you are doing well. Today's been kind of weird. You know what I mean? Gemma? My gosh, thank you for the 1,000 bits. What'd you do that for? Thank you so much. That was very kind. Huh. Mama House Gaming, hello. I mean, other than the heat, and Dry is doing awesome. That's wonderful. Congrats on claiming first, by the way. Gemma snagging thirst. Corgi bringing in the second place. You thought I was muted? I'm not muted. Noise. That was loud. Does it have to be that loud? I don't feel like it does.
What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this?
I love that. Because I can mime along. Yeah, you had me muted. Sheesh. Unbelievable. Here's your puzzle for tonight, guys. Since we ran out of Sherlock Holmes puzzles, I decided to type in London and just see what we get. And that's what we got. So, yeah. It's pretty cool. I couldn't tell you where in London. I think the Jigsaw photo said it was like 2012. So it's been a minute. Whether those trees are still there, I don't know. But yeah. So I want to get something off my chest because I usually don't let the haters, the trolls, get to me. Or at least I try not to. But you guys know I've been doing some woodworking. I've only been doing it for a few months. I am still a baby when it comes to the woodworking aspect. But I'm all in. I'm learning stuff. I'm trying things. I'm failing so I can try again. You know, the whole 9 yards. I finished a chair. Well, it's my second attempt at a chair, and I'm actually gonna add the image here so you can see it for yourself. And I posted it online, and I had some people that say, hey, it looks really great. I had folks that said, oh, good, maybe try this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. That's a cool idea, blah, blah, blah. But then, just as the internet is, there was always that one person. And I'm paraphrasing slightly, but they were like, this chair design is way overdone, and something like, pretty sure your mom wouldn't fit in it anyway. So that was nice. So I of course replied with, wow, you know, so creative. Here's a sticker. Good job, sport. You know, like, whatever. And I also sent a message to the mod so that they could take a look. I forgot to grab the chair. So this is the chair. The chair in question. Let me, so it's not done yet. I still need to do a little bit of sanding. I want to smooth out some of these more rough edges. And then I want to, you know, I need to get it stained, otherwise it won't survive outside. But, you know, the build part is done. And like I said, this is my second attempt because the other one was too big. It's just too big. And I can't really do anything about it now. Am I auctioning it off? I'm not, actually. This is going to be... So... I have a plan for the backyard, like a small area of it, maybe a 12 by 12 kind of thing, where it's going to get turned into like a fire pit, seating, you know, some planters, stuff like that. It's going to be a vibe, okay? It's going to be a whole thing. And so these chairs that I'm building are going to be in that area for people to sit on. So I need them to be heavy duty, which, as you can see, it's mostly built out of 4x4s. So it will be. And I don't really care if this design's overdone, because I've never done it before. I like it, and I needed something that's going to be sturdy, you know? I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so that's what I built that, not yesterday, the day before. Didn't take too long, thankfully. So, yeah, once the temperatures start to mellow out a little bit, which could be never wary, my dog's going nuts. Then I can get started on actually, you know, creating the outdoor space. But I've at least got the, you know, the furniture started. I would have had 2 chairs by now, but it's only 1. So, because I'm not going to use the other one. It's too much. That one I'm going to try and give away. I don't know if it's going to happen. And if not, I might have to just cut it up and trash it or something. I don't know. We'll see. Keeping the cushions though. Never wary the 34th. Exactly. I feel like we've discussed this before. So anyway, that's my rant. I just, like I said, I normally don't get that kind of thing lodged in my head, and I think the reason it did was just because, you know, my mom's passed already, and she was a very hands-on, creative kind of person. And had she been around to see these things being built, I think she would have just really loved it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Should have started years ago, but that's life. Sometimes we don't start right away, and we tell ourselves lies that we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're not smart enough, we'll never do it right. So, and I told myself those things, of course, but I decided one day to not tell myself those things, and now I have a bunch of tools, a bunch of lumber, and I'm building shit. So she would have been proud. I think so too. Oversized reading chair for outside. Yeah, and it's not really that oversized. It just looks oversized. The seating, like the cushion that's in there, is 24 inches. 2 feet. So it's not that big. It just looks bulky. Like, I have a wheelbarrow. I'm probably gonna need the wheelbarrow to get it to the yard. Unless I get a helper to carry it. But wheelbarrow should be a lot easier. So, in theory at least. As long as you start building an ark, I'm okay with it. Yeah, right. That's on my list of things to not do. But if I did, I could go visit the goats on the ocean. And hello, Allie. I see you there wasting points. What a waste. What a waste. Can you do a side-by-side to show the differences? Yeah, I could actually. Yeah, because the chairs, they're pretty close together. So yeah, I'll take a picture and post it in my Discord of a side-by-side comparison. Rather me do this? Oh, hi. Hey. Good to see you. God damn it, Allie. Ow. Hi, Kay. People always got to have an opinion on something that has nothing to do with them. That's so true. Like, the guy could have just said nothing. He could have kept his dumb comments to himself and just carried on with his crappy life. But what do I know? What do I know? All right. Just as a quick reminder, no stream on Thursday because I'll be out of town. But there is a chance for a daytime pop-up stream on Friday. So keep that in mind. I don't have a time specifically just yet, but it's a possibility. So I will refrain from any goat lines tonight. Why? Because I already said it? Yeah, that's right. You complained about me wearing points? You're wearing my points? Is it comfortable? Oh, wasting. Okay. Sorry. Oh, speaking of points, you will notice that the Batman redeem, the Batman voice, has been removed.
Honk, noise, 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 honk.
Thank you. It has been replaced with a different voice option. I'm sorry, Allie, it was hurting my throat too much. So, would you rather me do Batman a couple of times and then not be able to speak properly? You demand a refund? You already had your Batman. You can't have a refund on something you already got.
More! More!
More. No refunds, no backsies. None of that. I will have a sip of my tea, though. You want to redo? Go watch the VOD. That tea is hitting the spot right there. Once a week, I don't think that's an option. It's per stream kind of thing. I mean, I guess I could go in and turn it on once a week, but I'm not going to remember to do that. Come on now. Barely remember what happened yesterday. Gotta save on points for you to make a starting vid. You could save up your points, or you could just have me do it and then give me a donation to my PayPal. Either one works. My friends, I don't charge for. So, if we're buds, I don't charge. I just say, hey, if you want, you're welcome to make a donation. Mama House Gaming has done that a couple times, and it's been amazing. She's very generous, and I've really enjoyed making the videos for her. So that is the other option if you don't want to wait for the points. Buds, are you crying because you're happy, or like, oh crap, I need to leave? Don't answer that, actually. Just pretend I didn't say anything. You love him so much? Well, I'm so glad. I really, you gave me some good direction, and that helped me bring it all together. Thank you, Gemma, for the goat scream. Are we ready to read a book? Specifically the one we've been reading? Great. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we start with Kay subscribing. Kay, thank you so much for the resub. Kay, oh, I gotta add one to the count. Okay. Now we're at 10 again. We're in double digits again. You got a new book dry? What is it? Kay, this spin is for you. Good luck. I hope you land on it. Darn it. Someone's got to land on that wedge. I swear to God. I've been reading a lot of spicy books, though.
Oh, really?
What kind of spicy books? We need to find another spicy book that I can read on stream. It has been a while since we've done that.
I miss Sherlock Batman already.
No, you don't. The guy in the bookstore, he said, try this one. Okay. In the bookstore, try this one. I understood what you meant there. I read it word for word, and then it clicked what you were actually saying. Oh yeah, let's get our marble races in and put on a mask. Allie's like, if I can't have Batman, I will have his enemy. Ah, yes. Join the Grand Prix, you will. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. It is my pleasure to read to you. It might be painful for you. Chapter 7. The Stapletons of Merripit House. The fresh beauty of the following morning did something to efface from our minds the grim and grey impression which had been left upon both of us by our first experience of Baskerville Hall. As Sir Henry and I sat at breakfast, the sunlight flooded in through the high, mullioned windows, throwing watery patches of color from the coats of arms which covered them. And you think this gives you power over me? The dark paneling glowed like bronze in the golden rays, and it was hard to realize that this was indeed the chamber which had struck such a gloom into our souls upon the evening before. I guess it is ourselves, and not the house, that we have to blame, said the baronet. We were tired with our journey and chilled by our drive, so we took a grey view of the place. Now we are fresh and well, so it is all cheerful once more. Ah! Have fun at work. I gotta work. All right, where was I? Here we go. And yet it was not entirely a question of imagination, I answered. Did you, for example, happen to hear someone, a woman, I think, sobbing in the night? Well, that is curious, for I did, when I was half asleep, fancy that I heard something of the sort. I waited quite a time, but there was no more of it, so I concluded that it was all a dream. To pay the bills. I heard it distinctly, and I am sure that it was really the sob of a woman. We must ask about this right away. He rang the bell and asked Barrymore whether he could account for our experience. It seemed to me that the pallid features of the butler turned a shade paler still as he listened to the master's question. There are only 2 women in the house, Sir Henry, he answered. One is the scullery maid, who sleeps in the other wing. The other is my wife, and I can answer for it that the sound could not have come from her. And yet he lied as he said it, for it chanced that after breakfast I met Mrs. Barrymore in the long corridor with the sun full upon her face. She was a large, impassive, heavy-featured woman, with a stern, set expression of mouth. But her telltale eyes were red and glanced at me from between swollen lids. It was she, then, who wept in the night, and if she did so, her husband must know it. Yet he had taken the obvious risk of discovery in declaring that it was not so. Why had he done this? And why did she weep so bitterly? Already round this pale-faced, handsome, black-bearded man there was gathering an atmosphere of mystery and of gloom. It was he who had been the first to discover the body of Sir Charles, and we had only his word for all the circumstances which led up to the old man's death. Was it possible that it was Barrymore, after all, whom he had seen in the cab in Regent Street? The beard might well have been the same. The cabman had described a somewhat shorter man, but such an impression might easily have been erroneous. How could I settle the point forever? Obviously, the first thing to do was see the Grimpen postmaster and find whether the test telegram had really been placed in Barrymore's own hands. Be the answer what it might, I should at least have something to report to Sherlock Holmes. Sir Henry had numerous papers to examine after breakfast, so that the time was propitious for my excursion. It was a pleasant walk of 4 miles along the edge of the moor, leading me at last to a small grey hamlet, in which 2 larger buildings, which proved to be the inn and the house of Dr. Mortimer, stood high above the rest. The postmaster, who was also the village grocer, had a clear recollection of the telegram. Well done, Ally, you've won the first race. Can you keep it up, though? That is the question. The question indeed. 90 seconds on the clock, everybody. Good luck. I heard it distinctly, and I am sure that it was really the sob of a woman. We must ask you about this right away. He rang the bell and asked Barrymore whether he could account for our experience. That is the wrong page. Did I not turn the page? I am so lost right now. I'm fine. Nothing to see here. Fear not. Oh, certainly, sir, said he. I had the telegram delivered to Mr. Barrymore exactly as directed. Well, who delivered it? My boy here, James. You delivered that telegram to Mr. Barrymore at the hall last week, did you not? Yes, father. I delivered it. Into his own hands? I asked. Oh, well, he was up in the loft at the time, so that I could not put it into his own hands, but I gave it into Mrs. Barrymore's hands, and she promised to deliver it at once. Did you see Mr. Barrymore? No, sir. I tell you, he was in the loft. If you didn't see him, how do you know he was in the loft? Well, surely his own wife ought to know where he is. Or wait, that was the postmaster. Said the postmaster testily. Didn't he get the telegram? If there is any mistake, it is for Mr. Barrymore himself to complain. It seemed hopeless to pursue the inquiry any further, but it was clear that in spite of Holmes' ruse, we had no proof that Barrymore had not been in London all the time. Suppose that it were so. Suppose that the man had been the last who had seen Sir Charles alive, and the first to dog the new heir when he returned to England. What then? Was he the agent of others, or had he some sinister design of his own? What interest could he have in persecuting the Baskerville family? I thought of the strange warning clipped out of the leading article of the Times. Was that his work, or was it possibly the doing of someone who was bent upon counteracting his schemes? The only conceivable motive was that which had been suggested by Sir Henry, that if the family could be scared away, a comfortable and permanent home would be secured for the Barrymores. But surely such an explanation as that would be quite inadequate to account for the deep and subtle scheming which seemed to be weaving an invisible net round the young baronet. Holmes himself said that no more complex case had come to him in all the long series of his sensational investigations. I prayed as I walked back along the grey, lonely road that my friend might soon be freed from his preoccupations and able to come down to take this heavy burden of responsibility from my shoulders. Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by the sound of running feet behind me and by a voice which called me by name. I turned, expecting to see Dr. Mortimer, but to my surprise, it was a stranger who was pursuing me. He was a small, slim, clean-shaven, prim-faced man, flaxen-haired and lean-jawed, between 30 and 40 years of age, dressed in a grey suit and wearing a straw hat. A tin box for botanical specimens hung over his shoulder, and he carried a green butterfly net in one of his hands. You will, I am sure, excuse my presumption, Dr. Watson, said he as he came panting up to where I stood. Here on the moor, we are homely folk and do not wait for the formal introductions. You may possibly have heard my name from our mutual friend Mortimer. I am Stapleton of Marypit House. Your net and box would have told me as much, said I, for I knew that Mr. Stapleton was a naturalist, but how did you know me? I've been calling on Mortimer, and he pointed you out to me from the window of his surgery as you passed. As our road lay the same way, I thought that I would overtake you and introduce myself. I trust that Sir Henry is none the worse for his journey. He is very well, thank you. So, Mama's Mama. I'm here for a little bit, going to play some Wii Sports with the boys. Oh, that'll be fun. Try not to whoop them too badly. We were all rather afraid that after the sad death of Sir Charles, the new baronet might refuse to live here. It is asking much of a wealthy man to come down and bury himself in a place of this kind, but I need not tell you that it means a very great deal to the countryside. Sir Henry has, I suppose, no superstitious fears in the matter. You'll try? It's very kind of you. I do not think that is likely. Of course, you know the legend of the fiend dog which haunts the family. I have heard it. It is extraordinary how credulous the peasants are about here. Any number of them are ready to swear that they have seen such a creature upon the moor. He spoke with a smile, but I seemed to read in his eyes that he took the matter more seriously. Allie, twice in a row? What? All right then. Is anybody going to help knock Allie off her perch? You have 90 seconds to do so. The story took a great hold upon the imagination of Sir Charles, and I have no doubt that it led to his tragic end. But how? His nerves were so worked up that the appearance of any dog might have had a fatal effect on his diseased heart. I fancy that he really did see something of the kind upon the last night in the yew alley. I feared that some disaster might occur, for I was very fond of the old man, and I knew that his heart was weak. How did you know that? My friend Mortimer told me. You think, then, that some dog pursued Sir Charles and that he died of fright in consequence? Have you any better explanation? I have not come to any conclusion. Has Mr. Sherlock Holmes? The words took my breath for an instant, but a glance at the placid face and steadfast eyes of my companion showed that no surprise was intended. It is useless for us to pretend that we do not know you, Dr. Watson, said he. The records of your detective have reached us here, and you could not celebrate him without being known yourself. When Mortimer told me your name, he could not deny your identity. If you are here, then it follows that Mr. Sherlock Holmes is interesting himself in the matter, and I am naturally curious to know what view he may take. I'm afraid that I cannot answer that question. May I ask if he's going to honor us with a visit himself? He cannot leave town at present. He has other cases which engage his attention. Oh, what a pity. He might throw some light on that which is so dark to us. But as to your own researches, if there is any possible way in which I can be of service to you, I trust that you will command me. If I had any indication of the nature of your suspicions or how you propose to investigate the case, I might perhaps even now give you some aid or advice. I assure you that I am simply here upon a visit to my friend, Sir Henry, and that I need no help of any kind. Excellent, said Stapleton. You are perfectly right to be wary and discreet. I am just reproved for what I feel was an unjustifiable intrusion, and I promise you that I will not mention the matter again. We had come to a point where a narrow, grassy path struck off from the road and wound away across the moor. The steep, boulder-sprinkled hill lay upon the right, which may, in bygone days, been cut into a granite quarry. The face, which was turned towards us, formed a dark cliff, with ferns and brambles growing in its niches. From over a distant rise, there floated a grey plume of smoke. A moderate walk along this moor path brings us to Merripit House, said he. Perhaps you will spare an hour that I may have the pleasure of introducing you to my sister. Takes you an hour to introduce yourself? Well done, Dry. Coming in strong. Next up, the Saber. I like the sound of interesting oneself. Sounds rather naughty. I wouldn't mind interesting myself, if you know what I mean. Mitchell, hello. Welcome. My first thought was that I should be by Sir Henry's side, but then I remembered the pile of papers and bills with which his study table was littered. It was certain that I could not help with those, and Holmes had expressly said that I should study the neighbours upon the moor. I accepted Stapleton's invitation, and we turned together down the path. It is a wonderful place, the moor, said he, looking round over the undulating downs, long green rollers with crests of jagged granite forming up in fantastic surges. You never tire of the moor. You cannot think the wonderful secrets which it contains. It's so vast and so barren and so mysterious. You know it well, then. I've only been here 2 years. The residents would call me a newcomer. We came shortly after Sir Charles settled, but my taste led me to explore every part of the country round, and I should think that there are a few men who know it better than I do. Play. Are you playing? Is it hard to know? Oh, very hard. You see, for example, this great plain to the north here with the queer hills breaking out of it. Do you observe anything remarkable about that? I also don't know what happened, but you made it in.
Noise, 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 honk.
Thanks, Gemma. Very kind of you. Using 2 monitors right now? Okay. Understandable. It would be a rare place for a gallop. You would naturally think so, and the thought has cost several their lives before now. You notice those bright green spots scattered thickly over it? Yes, they seem more fertile than the rest. Stapleton laughed. That is the great Grimpen Mire, said he. "A false step yonder means death to man or beast. Only yesterday I saw one of the moor ponies wander into it. He never came out. I saw his head for quite a long time, craning out of the bog hole, but it sucked him down at last. Even in dry seasons it is a danger to cross it, but after these autumn rains it is an awful place. And yet I can find my way to the very heart of it and return alive. Oh, by George, there is another of those miserable ponies." Something brown was rolling and tossing among the green sedges. Then a long, agonized, writhing neck shot upward, and a dreadful cry echoed over the moor. It turned me cold with horror, but my companion's nerves seemed to be stronger than mine. "It's gone," said he. "The mire has him. 2 in 2 days, and many more perhaps, for they get in the way of going there in the dry weather and never know the difference until the mire has them in its clutches. It's a bad place, the Great Grimpen Mire." "And you say you can penetrate it?" "Yes. There are 1 or 2 paths which a very active man can take. I have found them out." How did he figure that out, though? If every other possible path would kill you. "But why should you wish to go into so horrible a place?" "Well, you see the hills beyond? They are really islands cut off on all sides by the impassable mire, which has crawled round them in the course of years. That is where the rare plants and the butterflies are, if you have the wit to reach them. I shall try my luck some day." He looked at me with a surprised face. "For God's sake, put such an idea out of your mind," said he. "Your blood would be upon my head. I assure you that there would not be the least chance of your coming back alive. It is only by remembering certain complex landmarks that I am able to do it." "Halloa!" I cried. "What is that?" A long, low moan, indescribably sad, swept over the moor. It filled the whole air, and yet it was impossible to say whence it came. From a dull murmur, it swelled into a deep roar, and then sank back into a melancholy, throbbing murmur once again. Stapleton looked at me with a curious expression in his face. "Queer place, the moor," said he. "But what is it?" "The peasants say it is the Hound of Baskerville calling for its prey. I've heard it once or twice before, but never quite so loud." "Gemma, getting your first win. Nice. Good job." The Glade is up next, which is kind of like a moor sounding place. I don't think there's any dangers here, though. Everyone doing good so far? Yep. Awesome. Wonderful. Oh, that was a nice crack in my neck. I looked round with a chill of fear in my heart at the huge swelling plain, mottled with the green patches of rushes. Nothing stirred over the vast expanse save a pair of ravens which croaked loudly from a tor behind us. "You are an educated man," You don't believe such nonsense as that? Said I. What do you think is the cause of so strange a sound? Bogs make queer noises sometimes. It's the mud settling, or the water rising, or something. No, that was a living voice. Well, perhaps it was. Did you ever hear a bittern booming? No, I never did. It's a very rare bird, practically extinct. In England now, but all things are possible upon the moor. Yes, I should not be surprised to learn that what we heard is the cry of the last of the bitterns. It's the weirdest, strangest thing that I have ever heard in my life. Yes, it's rather an uncanny place altogether. Look at the hillside yonder. What do you make of those? The whole steep slope was covered with grey circular rings of stone, a score of them at least. What are they? Sheep pens? No, they are homes of our worthy ancestors. Prehistoric man lived thickly on the moor, and as no one in particular has lived there since, we find all his little arrangements exactly as he left them. These are his wigwams. Wigwams. With the roofs off. You can even see hearth and his couch if you have the curiosity to go inside. But it's quite like a town. When was it inhabited? A Neolithic man. No date. Wigwam. What did he do? He grazed his cattle on these slopes, and he learned to dig for tin when the bronze sword began to supersede the stone axe. Look at the great trench in the opposite hill. That is his mark. Yes, you will find some very singular points about the moor, Dr. Watson. Oh, excuse me at an instant. It is surely cyclopides. Cyclopides? Oh, you mean wigwam. 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 Wigwams. Yes. Gang up on me all you want. I will say it incorrectly just to mess with you. Wigwam. A small fly or moth had fluttered across our path, and in an instant Stapleton was rushing with extraordinary energy and speed in pursuit of it. To my dismay, the creature flew straight for the great mire, and my acquaintance never paused for an instant, bounding from tuft to tuft behind it, his green net waving in the air. His grey clothes and jerky zigzag irregular progress made him not unlike some huge moth himself. I was standing watching his pursuit with a mixture of admiration for his extraordinary activity and fear lest he should lose his footing in the treacherous mire, when I heard the sound of steps, and turning around, found a woman near me upon the path. She had come from the direction in which the plume of smoke indicated the position of Merripit House, but the dip of the moor had hid her until she was quite close. Wigwam, thank you, ma'am. What? Me? No. I could not doubt that this was the Miss Stapleton of whom I had been told, since ladies of any sort must be few upon the moor, and I remembered that I had heard someone describe her as being a beauty. The woman who approached me was certainly that, and of a most uncommon type. There could not have been a greater contrast between brother and sister, for Stapleton was neutral tinted, with light hair and grey eyes, while she was darker than any brunette whom I have seen in England. Slim, elegant, and tall. She had a proud, finely cut face, so regular that it might have seemed impassive were it not for the sensitive mouth and the beautiful, dark, eager eyes. With her perfect figure and elegant dress, she was, indeed, a strange apparition upon a lonely moorland path. Her eyes were on her brother as I turned, and then she quickened her pace towards me. I had raised my hat and was about to make some explanatory remark when her own words turned all my thoughts into a new channel. "Go back," she said. "Go back to London instantly." I could only stare at her in stupid surprise. Her eyes blazed at me, and she tapped the ground immediately with her foot. "Why should I go back?" I asked. "I cannot explain." She spoke in a low, eager voice with a curious lisp in her utterance. "But for God's sake, do what I ask you. Go back and never set foot upon the moor again." Oh, Gemma making a comeback here. Are any of you guys gonna let the rest of us have a chance to win? Just, out of curiosity. If not, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not sad. Just saying. But I have only just come. Man, she cried. Can you not tell when a warning is for your own good? Go back to London. Start tonight. Get away from this place at all costs. Hush. My brother is coming. Not a word of what I have said. Would you mind getting that orchid for me among the mare tails yonder? We are very rich in orchids on the moor, though, of course, you are rather late to see the beauties of the place. Stapleton had abandoned the chase and came back to us breathing hard and flushed with exertions. "Halloa, Beryl," said he, and it seemed to me that the tone of his greeting was not altogether a cordial one. "Well, Jack, you are very hot." "Yes, I was chasing a cyclopide. He is very rare and seldom found in the late autumn. What a pity that I should have missed him." He spoke unconcernedly, but his small light eyes glanced incessantly from the girl to me. "You have introduced yourselves, I can see." Yes, I was telling Sir Henry that it was rather late for him to see the true beauties of the moor." "Why? Why do you think this is?" "I imagine that it must be Sir Henry Baskerville." No, said I. "Only a humble commoner, but his friend. My name is Dr. Watson." A flush of vexation paused over her expressive face. "We have been talking at cross purposes," said she. "Why, Not very much time for talk, her brother remarked with the same questioning eyes. I talked as if Dr. Watson were a resident instead of being merely a visitor, said she. It cannot much matter to him whether it is early or late for the orchids. But you will come on, will you not, and see Merripit House? A short walk brought us to it. A bleak moorland house, once the farm of some grazier in the old prosperous days, but now put into repair and turned into a modern dwelling. Modern. King Warthole, Your Majesty. Wiggle, wiggle. How are you? Good to see you. Where was I? Right. Here we go. How art thou, father of tattooed trees? What? Tattooed trees? Say what? Look, Kay has won the race. Well done. Well done indeed. Paper is tattoo. Okay, I'm with you now. Yeah, I'm not quite running on all 6 cylinders today. Might not even be on 4 cylinders, to be honest. Tattooed trees. I like that. That's good. The tea is exquisite. Okay, we are not going to have enough time to finish this chapter before ads are going to start. So I'm going to find where I left off, run the ads now, and then we'll keep going. So, let's see. Right. My finger is on the mark. This pause of tattoo reading does give one an opportunity to partake of said hot tea. The smell of rotting books is generally referred to as bibliosmia. Bibliosmia? Wow. Look at you coming in with all kinds of fancy knowledge. So tasty. I'm sure there are more tasty things out there, but right now, this tea will have to do. About 30 seconds or so left on the ads. Hi, Tiny Irish Viking, thank you for the bits. How are ya? We all enjoyed wordplay. A hot dog is a sandwich is a silly podcast that talks about play on words a lot, mostly about food. I would hope so, given their name. Bibliophobia? Bibliophobia, yeah. Thank you for the bits. You're doing okay? Glad to hear it. And for any of you that did have ads, welcome back. But I have a feeling that none of you did. Because Twitch is like that. Right. Tense fear of books or reading is a type of anxiety disorder. Books are almost everywhere and they're difficult to avoid. True statement. And avoid you should not. No matter how big or small. Right. We're on page 97, by the way, just if anyone's curious. An orchard surrounded it, but the trees, as is usual upon the moor, were stunted and nipped, and the effect of the whole place was mean and melancholy. We were admitted by a strange, wizened, rusty-coated old manservant who seemed in keeping with the house. Wow, such a mean description. Inside, however, there were large rooms furnished with an elegance in which I seemed to recognize the taste of the lady. As I looked from their windows at the interminable granite-flecked moor rolling unbroken to the farthest horizon, I could not but marvel at what could have brought this highly educated man and this beautiful woman to live in such a place. Well, maybe they just like it, Watson. He's very opinionated, isn't he? A queer spot to choose, is it not? Said he, as if in answer to my thought. And yet we managed to make ourselves fairly happy. Do we not, Beryl? Quite happy, said she, but there was no ring of conviction in her words. I had a school, said Stapleton. It was in the North Country. The work to a man of my temperament was mechanical and uninteresting, but the privilege of living with youth, of helping to mold those young minds, and of impressing them with one's own character and ideals was very dear to me. However, the fates were against us. A serious epidemic broke out in the school, and 3 of the boys died. It never recovered from the blow, and much of my capital was irretrievably swallowed up. And yet, if there were not for the loss of the charming companionship of the boys, I could rejoice over my own misfortune, for with my strong taste for botany and zoology, I find an unlimited field of work here, and my sister is as devoted to nature as I am. All this, Dr. Watson, has been brought upon your head by your expression as you surveyed the moor out of our window. It certainly did cross my mind that it might be a little dull. Less for you, perhaps, than for your sister. Oh, no, I am never dull, said she quickly. We have books, we have our studies, we have interesting neighbors. Dr. Mortimer's a most learned man in his own line. Poor Sir Charles was only an admirable companion. We knew him well and miss him more than I can tell. Do you think that I should intrude if I were to call this afternoon and make the acquaintance of Sir Henry? I'm sure that he would be delighted. Then perhaps you would mention that I propose to do so. We may, in our humble way, do something to make things more easy for him until he becomes accustomed to his new surroundings. Will you come upstairs, Dr. Watson, and inspect my collection of Lepidoptera? Hey, look at that. I want a raise. Time to wee. Don't miss. Just kidding. We've been summoned by the Grens. Have a great stream. Night night. Good evening to you, Stunt Mama's mama. I hope you have an enjoyable time. And again, go easy on the poor children. It's not their fault that you're a grandmaster. That's one less person in the races, by the way, which means your odds of winning just improved. Or did they? They did. I think it is the most complete one in the southwest of England. By the time that you have looked through them, lunch will be almost ready. But I was eager to get back to my charge. The melancholy of the moor, the death of the unfortunate pony, the weird sound which had been associated with the grim legend of the Baskervilles, all these things tinged my thoughts with sadness. Then, on the top of these more or less vague impressions, there had come the definite and distinct warning of Miss Stapleton, delivered with such intense earnestness that I could not doubt that some grave and deep reason lay behind it. I resisted all pressure to stay for lunch, and I set off at once upon my return journey, taking the grass-grown path by which we had come. It seems, however, that there must have been some shortcut for those who knew it, for before I had reached the road, I was astounded to see Miss Stapleton sitting upon a rock by the side of the track. Her face was beautifully flushed with her exertions, and she held her hand to her side. "I have run all the way in order to cut you off, Dr. Watson," said she. "I had not even time to put on my hat. I must not stop or Bother may miss me." Bother, really? Brother may miss me. "I wanted to say to you how sorry I am about the stupid mistake I made in thinking that you were Sir Henry. Please forget the words I said, which have no application whatever to you." "But I can't forget them, Miss Stapleton," said I. "I am Sir Henry's friend, and his welfare is a very close concern of mine. Tell me why it is that you were so eager that Sir Henry should return to London." "A woman's whim, Dr. Watson. When you know me better, you will understand that I cannot always give reasons for what I say or do." That's just a poor but fancily worded way of saying, mind your own business. No, I remember the thrill in your voice. I remember the look in your eyes. Please be frank with me, Miss Stapleton, for ever since I have been here, I have been conscious of shadows all around me. Life has become like the great Grimpen Mire, with little green patches everywhere into which one may sink, and with no guide to point the track. Tell me, then, what it is that you meant, and I will promise to convey your warning to Sir Henry. An expression of irresolution passed for an instant over her face, but her eyes had hardened again when she answered me. "You make too much of it, Dr. Watson," said she. "My brother and I were very much shocked by the death of Sir Charles. We knew him very intimately, for his favorite walk was over the moor to our house. He was deeply impressed with the curse which hung over the family, and when this tragedy came, I naturally felt that there must be some grounds for the fears which he had expressed. I was distressed. Therefore, when another member of the family came down to live here, I felt that he should be warned of the danger, which he will run. That was all I intended to convey." But what is the danger? You know the story of the Hound. I do not believe in such nonsense. But I do. If you have any influence with Sir Henry, take him away from a place which has always been fatal to his family. The world is wide. Why should he wish to live at the place of danger? Thank you for the lurk, Fubar. Oh, I won again. So sorry. Not really. This is my marble game. It is mine for the taking. Because it is the place of danger. That is Sir Henry's nature. I fear that unless you can give me some more definite information than this, it would be impossible to get him to move. I cannot say anything definite, for I do not know anything definite. Well, I would ask you one more question, Miss Stapleton. If you meant no more than this when you first spoke to me, why should you not wish your brother to overhear what you said? There is nothing to which he or anyone else could object. My brother is very anxious to have the hall inhabited, for he thinks it is for the good of the poor folk upon the moor. He would be very angry if he knew that I had said anything that might induce Sir Henry to go away. But I have done my duty now, and I will say no more. I must go back, or he will miss me and suspect that I have seen you. Goodbye. She turned and had disappeared in a few minutes among the scattered boulders, while I, with my soul full of vague fears, pursued my way to Baskerville Hall. And that's the end of the chapter, once and for all. You identify as poor folk? I didn't think she meant, like, financially poor. I think it was more like, oh, those poor people. Misery. Rexter, what's up, man? How you doing? I need to go to my neighbor's house soon. I have been hired to build some storage in the garage. I have already been out and purchased the 2x4s that I need, as well as the plywood. I do, however, need to begin to cut things to size, which I will do earnestly upon my convenience as of tomorrow, if the weather permits. Yes. Man, why can't you be my neighbor? 'Cause you haven't moved here yet. What is my schedule tomorrow? Oh, it is quite light indeed. What a joyous occasion. Why do I have so many bloody emails? Good God. Right. Yes, well, we'll deal with that later, shall we? Seriously debating on selling the house and moving? I mean, to be quite fair, where you live is not cheap. I don't know how much your health is worth, but I imagine you could probably get a new house here, like freshly built, for less. Just saying. I mean, if you want, just out of curiosity, what might your house be worth? If you wish to say in chat, you can, or if you want to DM me so it's private. Or you can just say, mind your business. And I will say no more. I could, but there are so many pros and cons. There always are. That's the pain in the butt about moving and relocating. It's never just simple, straightforward, and obvious. It's all the opposite. Talking to the kids about it? Yeah. Caitlin says yes. Your mom says yes. Somebody else says no. Torn. No more moving for me. Rexter is staying put. Ooh, Kay's gonna move into an RV. That'd be fun. Well, I say that in kind of a imaginative kind of way. I don't know if I could fully do that for a long period. Yeah. I'll look by you, but other than you, there'd be no one. Aw. There's lots of cool people that live where I am. And they're building new houses right across from me right now. Just drives my dog absolutely nuts because there's always construction happening. Barking. Yes, barking mad. 90 seconds on the clock. All right, I'm afraid we only really have time for one more chapter because chapter 7 was like 8,000 pages long. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Chapter 8. First report of Dr. Watson. So now we're going to get a recap as he talks to Sherlock Holmes, I imagine. All right. The tea is back on the hot plate. Time to get into it. From this point onward, I will follow the course of events by transcribing my own letters to Mr. Sherlock Holmes, which lie before me on the table. My neighbor right across built a back house, a big one, in 1 month. He finished it like you are growing mushrooms. Poof. That's That's fast. Is it to code, or are your building codes more relaxed? Because here where we are, they're pretty strict, which I appreciate. I don't want my house to just fall over. Codes, that's good. Well, hey, good for him. One page is missing, but otherwise they are exactly as written, and show my feelings and suspicions of the moment more accurately than my memory, clear as it is upon these tragic events, can possibly do. Like the tiles on your walls. Yes. Baskerville Hall, October 13th. My dear Holmes, my previous letters and telegrams have kept you pretty well up to date as to all that has occurred in this most godforsaken corner of the world. The longer one stays here, the more does the spirit of the moor sink into one's soul, its vastness, and also its grim charm. When you are once out upon its bosom, you have left all traces of modern England behind you. But on the other hand, you are conscious everywhere of the homes and the work of the prehistoric people. On all sides of you, as you walk, are the houses of these forgotten folk, with their graves and the huge monoliths which are supposed to have marked their temples. As you look at their grey stone huts against the scarred hillsides that leave your own age behind you, and if you were to see a skin-clad, hairy man crawl out from the low door fitting a flint-tipped arrow on the string of his bow, you would feel that his presence there was more natural than your own. That was a very long way of saying I feel like I'm in the Stone Age. The strange thing is that they should have lived so thickly on what must always have been most unfruitful soil. I am no antiquarian, but I could imagine that they were some unwarlike and harried race who were forced to accept that which none other would occupy. All this, however, is foreign to the mission on which you sent me and will probably be very uninteresting to your severely practical mind. I can still remember your complete indifference as to whether the sun moved round the earth or the earth round the sun. Let me, therefore, return to the facts concerning Sir Henry Baskerville. Yes, why even you would open with such nonsense to Sherlock Holmes is beneath me. If you have not had any report within the last few days, it is because up to today there was nothing of importance to relate. Then a very surprising circumstance occurred, which I shall tell you in due course. But, first of all, I must keep you in touch with some of the other factors in the situation, like Lady Kay winning another race. Next map, if you please. I never understood why this one has such a grand entrance. There we are. Good luck, everybody. One of these, concerning which I have said little, is the escaped convict upon the moor. There is a strong reason now to believe that he has got right away, which is a considerable relief to the lonely householders of this district. A fortnight has passed since his flight, during which he has not been seen and nothing had been heard of him. It is surely inconceivable that he could have held out upon the moor during all that time. Of course, so far as his concealment goes, there is no difficulty at all. Any one of these stone huts would give him a hiding place. But there is nothing to eat unless he were to catch and slaughter one of the moor sheep. We think, therefore, that he has gone, and the outlying farmers sleep the better in consequence. We are 4 able-bodied men in this household, so that we could take good care of ourselves, but I confess that I have had uneasy moments when I have thought of the Stapletons. They live miles from any help. They are 1 maid, an old manservant, the sister, and the brother, the latter not a very strong man. They would be helpless in the hands of a desperate fellow like the Notting Hill criminal if he could once effect an entrance. Both Sir Henry and I were concerned at their situation, and it was suggested that Perkins the groom should go over to sleep there, but Stapleton would not hear it. No, I will catch him with my net. The fact is that our friend, the baronet, begins to display a considerable interest in our fair neighbor. It is not to be wondered at, for time hangs heavily in this lonely spot to an active man like him. And she is a very fascinating and beautiful woman. There's something tropical and exotic about her which forms a singular contrast to her cool and unemotional brother. Yet he also gives the idea of hidden fires. He has certainly a very marked influence over her, for I have seen her continue to glance at him as she talked as if seeking approbation for what she said. I trust that he is kind to her. There is a dry glitter in his eyes and a firm set of his thin lips, which goes with a positive and possibly a harsh nature. You would find him an interesting study. He came over to call upon Baskerville on the first day, and the very next morning he took us both to show us the spot where the legend of the wicked Hugo is supposed to have its origin. It was an excursion of some miles across the moor to a place which is so dismal that it might have suggested the story. We found a short valley between rugged tors which led to an open grassy space flecked over the white cotton grass. In the middle of it rose 2 great stones, worn and sharpened at the upper end until they looked like the huge corroding fangs of some monstrous beast. A hound, perhaps? In every way it corresponded with the scene of the old tragedy. Sir Henry was much interested and asked Stapleton more than once whether he did really believe in the possibility of the interference of the supernatural in the affairs of men. He spoke lightly, but it was evident that he was much in earnest. Stapleton was guarded in his replies, but it was easy to see that he had less than he might, and that he would not express his whole opinion out of consideration for the feelings of the baronet. He told us of similar cases where families had suffered from some evil influence, and he left us with the impression that he shared the popular view upon the matter. On our way back, we stayed for lunch at Merripit House, and it was there that Sir Henry made the acquaintance of Miss Stapleton. From the first moment that he saw her, he appeared to be strongly attracted to her, and I am much mistaken if the feeling was not mutual. He referred to her again and again on our walk home, and since then hardly a day has passed that we have not seen something of the brother and sister. They dine here tonight, and there is some talk of our going to them next week. One would imagine that such a match would be very welcome to Stapleton, and yet I have more than once caught a look of the strongest disapprobation in his face when Sir Henry has been paying some attention to his sister. He is much attached to her, no doubt, and would lead a lonely life without her, but it would seem the height of selfishness if he were to stand in the way of her making so brilliant a marriage. He's got the looks and he's got the money, honey. Yet I am certain that he does not wish their intimacy to ripen into love, and I have several times observed that he has taken pains to prevent them from being tete-a-tete. Super! OMG, Super's so amazing. How did you know? That's what I was gonna say. Thank you so much for the 33 months and in a row as well. Good grief. It is good to see you, sir. How are you? Well, you are a reader, my dude. I am. Just trying to help you out. You know, I appreciate that. Not everyone would go to such lengths to make sure I said the appropriate thing. This spin is for you, sir. I wish you luck. Oh, man, that was close. You landed on 130. Has anyone won? No. Between you and purple, you are the ones that have been one wedge away. One wedge. Oh, you got one of his jerseys? Aren't they cool? I mean, I have the t-shirt, but the design. I love the design. So good. It's like, oh my god. So awesome. Love it. K winning again. Quality is really good. Yes. I agree. Right. I almost lost my place. Almost, but I found it. By the way, your instructions to me never to allow Sir Henry to go out alone will become very much more onerous if a love affair would to be added to our difficulties. My popularity would soon suffer if I were to carry out your orders to the letter. The other day, Thursday to be more exact, Dr. Mortimer lunched with us. He has been excavating a barrow at Longdown and has got a prehistoric skull, which fills him with great joy. Ooh, joy. Never was there such a single-minded enthusiast as he. The Stapletons came in afterwards, and the good doctor took us all to the yew alley at Sir Henry's request to show us exactly how everything occurred upon that fateful night. It is a long, dismal walk, the yew alley, between two high walls of clipped hedge, with a narrow band of grass upon either side. At the far end is an old, tumble-down summer house. Halfway down is the moor gate, where the old gentleman left his cigar ash. It is a white wooden gate with a latch. Beyond it lies the wide moor. I remembered your theory of the affair and tried to picture all that had occurred. As the old man stood there, he saw something coming across the moor, something which terrified him so that he lost his wits and ran until he died of sheer horror and exhaustion. There was the long, gloomy tunnel down which he fled. And from what? A sheepdog of the moor? Or a spectral hound, black, silent, and monstrous? Was there a human agency in the matter? Did the pale, watchful Barrymore know more than he cared to say? It was all dim and vague, but always there is the dark shadow of crime behind it. One other neighbor I have met since I wrote last. This is Mr. Franklin of Laughter Hall, who lives some 4 miles to the south of us. He is an elderly man, red face, white-haired, and choleric. It sounds really bad. His passion is for the British law, and he has spent a large fortune in litigation. He fights for the mere pleasure of fighting and is equally ready to take up either side of a question, so that it is no wonder that he has found it a costly amusement. Sometimes he will shut up a right-of-way and defy the parish to make him open it. At others, he will, with his own hands, tear down some other man's gate and declare that a path has existed from time to immemorial, defying owner to prosecute him for trespass. He is learned in old manorial and communal rights, and he applies his knowledge sometimes in favor of the villagers of Fenworthy, and sometimes against them, so that he is periodically either carried in triumph down the village street, or else burned in the effigy, according to his latest exploit. He is said to have about 7 lawsuits upon his hands at present, which will probably swallow up the remainder of his fortune, and so draw his sting and leave him harmless for the future. Apart from the law, he seems a kindly, good-natured person, and I only mention him because you were particular that I should send some description of the people who surround us. He is curiously employed at present, for being an amateur astronomer, he is an excellent telescope, which he lies upon the roof of his own house and sweeps the moor all day in hope of catching a glimpse of the escaped convict. If he would confine his energies to this, all would be well, but there are rumors that he intends to prosecute Dr. Mortimer for opening a grave without consent of the next of kin, because he dug up the Neolithic skull in the barrow on Long Down. He helps to keep our lives from being monotonous and gives a little comic relief where it is badly needed. And now, having brought you up to date in the escaped convict, the Stapletons, Dr. Mortimer, and Frankland of Laughter Hall, let me end on that which is most important and tell you more about the Barrymores, and especially about the surprising development of last night. This is one long letter. Super. Thanks for giving Rexter that sub. Rexter, welcome back. I appreciate that, sir. That was very kind of you. And I'm gonna spin again for you. Because you earned it. That was still pretty close. Not as close as last time, but I swear if somebody doesn't land on it, I'm just gonna lose it, okay? Just gonna lose my freaking mind. Would you believe me if I told you I've lost my place? Crap. Oh wait, no, we're good. We're good. I've got it. It's fine. Why did that shout out not work? Oh, I know why. Because I typed it in wrong. Rexter, can you please give After Hours Brovolution a shout out, please? I obviously cannot type. Obviously. Where would the sense in that be, man? That's why you have mods. I know. Stop doing stuff. I'm sorry. Can you do it, please, ma'am? Somebody? Anybody? Somebody. Please. Ooh, Rexter 1. There we go. Given the time, I'll have to shorten the laps on the rest of the races. Going to drop it from 5 to 3, shaving off 40%. Oh wow, it's an actual clip of Super. What are the odds? Every time we do a clip in here, we seem to get your brother, Zarias. Okay. Top of page 108. It's always the useless one, right? God. Do not tell him I said that. First of all, about the test telegram which you sent from London in order to make sure that Barrymore was really here. I have already explained that the testimony of the postmaster shows that the test was worthless, and that we have no proof one way or the other. I told Sir Henry how the matter stood, and he at once, in his downright fashion, had Barrymore up and asked him whether he had received the telegram himself. Barrymore said that he had. Did the boy deliver it into your own hands? Asked Sir Henry. Barrymore looked surprised and considered for a little time. No, said he. I was in the box room at the time, and my wife brought it up to me. Did you answer it yourself? No, I told my wife what to answer, and she went down to write it. In the evening, he recurred to the subject of his own accord. Apparently, I forgot to push a button. There we go. I could not quite understand the object of your questions this morning, Sir Henry. I trust they do not mean that I have done anything to forfeit your confidence. Sir Henry had to assure him that it was not so and pacify him by giving him a considerable part of his old wardrobe, the London outfit having now all arrived. Mrs. Barrymore is of interest to me. She is a heavy, solid person, very limited, intensely respectable, and inclined to be puritanical, which I actually don't know what that means. It sounds very impressive, though. Good job. You could hardly convince a less emotional subject. Yet I have told you how, on the first night here, I heard sobbing bitterly, and since then I have more than once observed traces of tears upon her face. Some deep sorrow gnaws ever at her heart. Sometimes I wonder if she has a guilty memory which haunts her, and sometimes I suspect Barrymore of being a domestic tyrant. I have always felt that there was something singular and questionable in the man's character, but the adventure of last night brings all my suspicions to a head. And yet it may seem a small matter in itself. You are aware that I am not a very sound sleeper, and since I have been on the guard in this house, my slumbers have been lighter than ever. Last night, about 2 a.m, Bookfather won the race. Just kidding. That's not what it says. That would be weird. Like, how could you predict the future like that? Race number 14. Get in here. Last night, about 2 a.m, I was aroused by a stealthy step passing my room. Well, not that stealthy, obviously. I rose, opened my door, and peeped out. A long black shadow was trailing down the corridor. It was thrown by a man who walked softly down the passage with a candle held in his hand. He was in shirt and trousers, with no covering to his feet. I could merely see the outline, but his height told me that it was Barrymore. He walked very slowly and circumspectly, and there was something indescribably guilty and furtive in his whole appearance. I have told you that the corridor is broken by the balcony which runs down the hall, but that it is resumed upon the farther side. I waited until he had passed out of sight, and then I followed him. Walk softly, carry big stick. Tippy toes, tippy toes. When I came round the balcony, he had reached the end of the farther corridor, and I could see from the glimmer of light through an open door that he had entered one of the rooms. Now, all these rooms are unfurnished and unoccupied, so that his expedition became more mysterious than ever. The light shone steadily as if he was standing motionless. I crept down the passage as noiselessly as I could and peeped round the corner of the door. Barrymore was crouching at the window with the candle held against the glass. His profile was half turned towards me, and his face seemed to be rigid with expectation as he stared out into the blackness of the moor. For some minutes he stood watching intently. Then he gave a deep groan, and with an impatient gesture he put out the light. Instantly I made my way back to my room, and very shortly came the stealthy steps passing once more upon their return journey. Long afterwards, when I had fallen into a light sleep, I heard a key turn somewhere in a lock, but I could not tell whence the sound came. What it all means, I cannot guess. But there is some secret business going on in this house of gloom which sooner or later we shall get to the bottom of. I do not trouble you with my theories, for you asked me to furnish you only with facts. I have had a long talk with Sir Henry this morning, and we have made a plan of campaign founded upon my observations of last night. I will not speak about it just now, but it should make my next report interesting reading. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the chapter. And of course, why would you talk about it now when the chapter is ended? We've got to save that for the next series. It's like an episode in a TV program. Stay tuned to find out more. Thank you, my good man. Yes. Indubitably. For at this point, henceforth, we shall finish the Grand Prix and find us somebody to raid. Yes. Quite nice. Now, as a reminder, going back to my regular voice, Thursday, there is no stream on Thursday. However, I'm hoping to do a pop-up stream sometime Friday during the day. I know it's pronounced Grand Prix, I just like to say Grand Prix. I had a feeling it might get under your skin. It makes me chuckle. Makes me chuckle. I don't know why. Tell me why. doesn't get under my skin. I just like to be helpful. Well, I do appreciate that. But yes, no, with Grand Prix, I just think it's fun to say pricks. Because I'm sure some of the people that attend those races are grand pricks. Ooh, since we're doing 3 laps right now, and we have 2 more races after this, just for funsies, we'll make the second to last race 2 laps. And then the last race, 1 lap. Just to see the carnage. That sounds like fun. Dry winning that one. Well done. The track. The most unimaginative name ever. All right, 90 seconds. You know what to do. You know what to do. Let's put this over here. Bring up this. Do, do, do. Okay. Let's take a look-see. We have a lot of people online right now. Yes, we do. A lot of people indeed. I do see Ali on, as mentioned. Thank you. I see Fubar. I see Thump. I see Quincy. I just got back from the parking lot. The new book is from Neil Gaiman. It's called Neverwhere. I've read some of his stuff. Neverwhere. That name, that title sounds really familiar, but I don't think I've read it. You'll have to let me know what you think. Good for you. He has written some really good stuff. I did read of his War of the World on stream, and that was really well written. The movie that they did, like the Tom Cruise movie, was so off base compared to the book. Like, so bad. I can't read. I just collect books. Fine. Be that way. Perhaps I should read it. What? World record? What is this? Has anyone seen this before? Like, did I do that race in a lap that was the best or something? Huh. All right. Never seen that before. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Literally no idea. All right, this is the last race. There's only gonna be... I don't think it's gonna let me. Nope, it won't let me do 1 lap. So 2 laps it is. Zarias, my dude, you are way behind schedule. we are getting ready to end the night. And here you are just now showing up. Granted, the puzzle will be there long after I am done. And you can connect those pieces at your heart's content. Oh, let's see. Right, I was trying to find someone to raid. I was trying to find someone we haven't raided in a while, if that's possible. You know what I should do? I should see who all we have that's also doing writing and reading right now, because we haven't raided any new friends in a long time. There's quite a few people live actually in this category, so that's exciting. Isn't this exciting? Let's see, who do we got here? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Ah, they're doing an author interview. Interesting. Author Christy Lee is going live. Author interview with Canadian Katrina Capelli. I don't know who that is, but she's a romance author. Okay. We could use a good romance book, could we not? I don't know if rating someone doing an interview is quite the best option, however. So, let's see who else we have. Oh my goodness, I won again. I'm so sorry. Good night, Kay. Let's see who placed. Gemma came in 3rd place. Well done, Gemma. Kay, you came in 2nd. Oh. Gosh. Me again. I don't know, folks. I just live here. Okay. I just live here. It's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me at all. Well, I was about to choose that person, but that is in a very different language, and I only spreche the English, so that's not gonna work. In fact, there's a lot of people on here that are not streaming in English, which is fine. It just doesn't help me. Well then. What to do? What to do? We might actually have to go and raid the lady doing the interview. I think they're the only ones that are actually doing something in English right now. But that's okay, because again, we're making new friends, right? So here we go. If you could all please join me copying that raid message. No, snooze the ad. We don't need ads right now. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure continuing to read some Sherlock Holmes to you. Again, no stream on Thursday because I will be out of town, but there will be a pop-up stream sometime on Friday. I've got a couple of games to try out that I've never played before, so eager to see how those go. Hopefully you'll be able to chime in and tell me how much I suck at playing them. But yeah, let's get the raid going. Again, raid, nope, that's not it. Raid message. Give that a copy. It's been a blast, thank you. But thank you. It's only a blast because you guys show up. I hope you understand that. I mean, I'm still going to be me and I'm still going to do what I do. But your presence, your interactions, your comments, your jokes, your atmosphere, the atmosphere that you create, that's what makes it fun. So thank you for making it fun for me. I appreciate it. All right. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And have a wonderful night.